tell us about how you got started with Chick-fil-A in the first place.
Okay. So I started at Chick-fil-A 10 years ago. So I was going to school to be an elementary school teacher. Thought that was what I wanted to do. So I got to about 2 years in and was doing student teaching one semester and needed a job. So I started working at Chick-fil-A at night. So I'd go to school 8 to 4, and then I'd work 5 to 11 at Chick-fil-A, and they always put me in the dining room. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. So did that for about 6 months and then decided that I wanted to pursue becoming an operator. So after 2.5 years, switched my major to business in order to pursue that dream. And so been working there ever since. I was the director of operations of my hometown Chick-fil-A, which is in Olive Branch, Mississippi, in the Memphis market, and did that since 2016. And then my operator got his second location in 2019. And so at that point, I became the operating partner over his 2 restaurants. So I did that for 4 years. And then, so 4 years until I left in July of 2023 to go to Atlanta for operator training, and then moved here in August of 2023. So let's see, so I was, so did that until in 2023. So that was 4 years, and loved every second of it, but have a lot of experience with Chick-fil-A. It's pretty much all I know.
So how many cumulative years do you have with Chick-fil-A?
So 10 years, 4 of those were as the operating partner over 2 restaurants. Each of those individual restaurants will do probably $13 million this year separately, so $26 million collectively. And then 4 of those as director of operations of 1. So a lot of management experience at Chick-fil-A before becoming an operator. So what I was gonna say, which I got off track, but so July 2021 is when I submitted my application to become an operator. And then that entire process took 2 years. And then so I was selected to be an operator in May of 2023. So 2-year journey.
So you mentioned that you really like the dining room. What is it that you like about the dining room?
Yeah. So my favorite part of working at Chick-fil-A is interacting with the guests. So once we open, hopefully soon, that's where you'll find me, is just sitting in the dining room, interacting with guests, walking around, checking on our guests. That's just my favorite part of Chick-fil-A, is serving others. And that's just where anyone that knows me or that has worked with me at Chick-fil-A or has been a guest that I serve, they know that that's where my passion is. So that's where you'll find me.
Okay, well, talk to me about the process that it takes to get where you are today.
Yeah. So there is an application for the application. So you submit an expression of interest if you want to become a Chick-fil-A operator. And so I think the stats I heard last year was 130,000 people submit an expression of interest to become an operator. And then out of those 130,000, I think last heard was like 130 were selected to become operators. So it's very selective. It's a 2-year process. So so then after that, you get the application. The application is in 8 stages, and so at any of those stages throughout the application process, you can be eliminated. And then after that, there's pre-recorded interview, a virtual interview, and then I think I've had probably over 10 interviews in Atlanta, which includes an interview with my husband. He had to go and interview with them as well, even though he is no part of the business. Well, I mean, he will. You'll see him there. But, he doesn't have a role. He has a separate career. But they want to make sure that you have a really good support system. And so that's why they flew him out to be interviewed as well. But, yeah, so a 2-year process.
Okay, so tell us about that family. I know you got a husband and a child.
Yes.
So talk to us about your family.
Yeah. So my husband, his name is Zach. He is a CPA and corporate controller of a company called InSafe. It's in Nashville. He drives to Nashville every day. poor guy. National traffic is something else. So yeah, and so we've got a daughter, Caroline. She's 6. She goes to Thomas Magnet School, which we love. Honestly, I looked and tried to find the closest school to the restaurant, and that's how we decided where she was going to go to school. But they've been really great. She does soccer and gymnastics and piano here in Shelbyville, so trying to get her involved in the community as well. And then my dad and my stepmom actually just moved up here this past weekend to help us with getting the business up off the ground. So they're going to be a huge help with us. We don't have family here in Shelbyville, and so it's been really nice having them here.
Okay, so we've talked about like your family, and we've talked about the lead up to getting approved. What's it been like now that you've been approved? What's the whole construction process been like, and what's the next step?
Yeah, so this is my first time owning a Chick-fil-A, and so it's been really interesting to see the progress. Construction is stressful, as I'm sure a lot of people know, but nothing ever goes how you expect it. So when we moved here in August and when they were planning on doing majority of the parking lot construction, it rained for probably 3 weeks straight, so that pushed us back a little bit. So building is quite on track. Parking lot, they're having to do a lot of work to get us caught up and hopefully ready to open in December.
So let's talk about the opening. What are some of the things that you have to get done prior to the opening?
Well, so we have to hire 120 people, so that's a feat. But I mean, I think in 7 days had over 600 applications in the week that we made that live. So feel really thankful. It's allowed us an opportunity to be really selective with who we choose to hire, to make sure that we represent the brand well and that we serve the Bedford County community to the best of our ability. So of course, doing that, selecting vendors, so landscape, all that stuff. That's kind of what we're in the process of doing right now. And then spending a lot of money. So iPads, there are things that, you don't think of that are things that we're having to purchase. iPads to take orders in the drive-through, heated jackets, thinking about, opening in December, it's gonna be cold. So just placed a bulk order of hot hands the other day. So just things like that. And then, 2 weeks before grand opening is when we'll receive the keys to the restaurant, and then we can kind of start putting things together. But there's a lot of moving pieces, more than you would think.
Okay. So you mentioned 120 jobs. What kind of characteristics are you looking for in people that you will employ?
Yeah. So I think, number one, at Chick-fil-A, we always talk about you have to show honor, dignity, and respect to everyone. So I think, first you have to be willing to do all three of those things to everyone that you come in contact with, is very important. I think really looking for team players, people that are humble. We always talk about too, like humble, hungry, and smart. And so looking for those characteristics as well. We can teach, going back to the respect piece, we can teach people how to work at Chick-fil-A, but it's really hard to teach people how to be respectful and be kind and be hospitable. But we have this saying, there's a book, it's called Unreasonable Hospitality. And so that's the mindset that we've adapted and that we want to show to this community, is just being unreasonably hospitable. And so that's one of our interview questions. Kind of going to tell on myself a little bit if anyone's got an interview coming up, but we talk about, hey, like we want to go above and beyond. So if you see a kid in the dining room, give them a cow, give them a sticker. We want people that are unreasonable in their hospitality. Is that something that you're able to partner with us and do? And so that's just really important to us. But at the end of the day, you got to have people that are respectful, that are willing to, accept feedback and learn and grow, and that are humble, hungry, and smart, for sure.
Okay. So the anxiety, believe me, is growing in this community,
Yeah.
and everybody has one question that they want to know.
Right.
When are we going to be open?
I know. Me too. So, I think once we get closer to time, it'll be easier to tell. My hope would be that, once we have a set date, I'm hoping to let you guys know, 2 weeks ahead. But I will say the hope would be, first few weeks of December, we're definitely hoping to be open. So 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully, as long as something crazy doesn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that you're already in the interview process for it and trying to find and find those 120 people that you need for the 120 jobs.
Yeah.
What's the next steps in that? What are you doing right now? How many more interviews do you plan to do? Where are we at in the interview process?
So, like I said, we've gotten a lot of really, really great applicants. We've been so thankful for that. And I would say we're at about 60 right now, and we've been interviewing for a week. There's 4 of us that are doing interviews, and we're 30-minute increments from 9 to 5 every single day since we put out that application. And so we're about halfway done. And so my goal, honestly, would be to be done before Thanksgiving. And so I've got a lot of help that's helping me out. But so we're about halfway done. But we're continuing to look for really great people. We review every single application that is still coming in, and if it's a great candidate, we're still interviewing them. We'll never stop hiring, especially great people.
So how do you apply?
Yeah, so if you go to our Chick-fil-A Shelbyville website, our link is there. We also have a text to apply. I wish I knew it off of the top of my head, but it's also on our Facebook as well. You'll text jobs to insert number here. I'm not sure what it is, but it's also hanging from, there's a little trailer in front of the restaurant, and there's a sign there as well. But if you go to our Facebook page, you'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So social media, I know that you've been active on social media.
Yeah.
Tell me about Chick-fil-A and your social media efforts.
Yeah. So, that's all, done in-house. We've been, honestly, have surpassed my expectations on, the likes and the followers, and just the interaction that we get from this community has been really, really great. I think we're at like 4,000 now, which I wouldn't have expected, at least before we opened. So felt really thankful there. But yeah, we just try to post progress pictures and posting the link to apply and things like that. But it's been a really, really great. We love interacting with the community through that, and also our messenger's open. That's me on the other end of that. But yeah, so answering a lot of questions, and it's been a really good way to interact with the community.
Speaking of interacting with the community, what's been the high point of your observations about Shelbyville so far?
Yeah, I would say that, everyone, and I say this all the time, I feel like I sound like a broken record, but everyone that I've come in contact with that has been in this community has been just incredibly kind. I have joined, I'm in, Leadership Bedford, and that's been really great, and I've gotten to meet a lot of people through there, just genuinely great people. And we've joined gyms and just interacting. Sometimes you get stopped, whether it's at Kroger or restaurants, and we love it. And it's just been really awesome just meeting everyone and getting to know everyone in the community. But every single person we've met from here has been incredibly kind. So we're really thankful for that.
I know that Chick-fil-A probably has some guidelines on being involved in the community and some things that they like to see you do. What can we expect from Chick-fil-A once you're open and part of this community officially?
Yeah. So, that's most of that is left up to the operator. Of course, we have Chick-fil-A scholarships that Chick-fil-A corporate offers to our employees, which is incredible. I actually was a recipient of those scholarships all 4 years of my college that I worked at Chick-fil-A and went to school. So that's been a really great help. But outside of that, it's individual operator choice. And so, looking forward to partnering with schools especially. I think that's one way that we can really get involved. And then we have a website up. We have a website that's active now, our Chick-fil-A Shelbyville website. And so we'll have a donations tab on there. And so we'll review that. We'll have a donations budget monthly, and we'll be able to help support the community through that as well.
So what can the community do right now that would be most helpful to you?
I would say, we love followers on social media, people sharing our posts, especially the post with our application. We've gotten a lot of shares, and up until I think next Monday is when we'll stop that, but we have a drawing for a $50 gift card. And so more to come for sure on giveaways. I think we're going to give away a year's worth of Chick-fil-A soon, so that's going to be posted hopefully next week. So interacting on social media and just kind of getting the word out there, especially on the application, just would be really helpful.
So here's your opportunity, Katelyn. We appreciate you opening a Chick-fil-A here in Shelbyville. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.